we will be discussing about our two important things here. One, as I already said, we'll be studying about what? Interior. Now with respect to interior, we will be studying about the first one, we call it as the layers of earth. Now what are the different layers of earth? It is the crust, the mantle and the core, or the core, mantle and the crust. Anyways, it's fine. It's the first one, we call it as the layers. We have how many layers? Majorly we call it as core, mantle as well as what? The crust is our first one. And the second one, we will be discussing about the concepts called as about the concept of what? The rocks. Now what do you mean by the rocks and what do you mean by minerals? First, what is minerals and what is rocks? Exactly. It is naturally occurring substance, we call it as what? The minerals. The naturally occurring substance, we call it as minerals. Now the group of minerals, we call it as what? We call it as rock. Or as simple as that, or in a simpler manner, we call it as aggregation. Now what is aggregation, Andren? Now aggregation means it's a group of the minerals, we call it as what? Group of minerals, we call it as the rocks. Group of minerals, we call it as what? The rocks. Yes or no? Now what are the rocks do we have with respect to the earth? It is, we have three types of rocks. The first one we call it as, we have three types of rocks. One we call it as the parent rock, called as which rock? Igneous rock. It is not igneous, it is igneous rock. And the second one we call it as what? Second one we call it as sedimentary rock. We will discuss all the things, but this class is about an introductory as well as the strategy session. Yes or no? And firstly, to understand you guys, in the same manner you will be understanding me. Yes or no? If the bonding is good, we'll go with respect to geography. Yes or no? This is majorly as not as a strategy or not as an introductory session, rather to understand about it is each other's, so that we can discuss about the complete, we call it as geography. It is both from our prelims as well as from the mains perspective. Yes or no? Majorly this part, it is the igneous we'll be discussing. Second one we call it as sedimentary rock, and the third one we call it as which one? It is metamorphic rock. Yes, for each and everything, we will be discussing based on, we call it as blueprinting. Based on blueprinting, first we'll be discussing about the layers, second we'll be discussing about the rocks, and under rocks we'll be discussing about igneous rock, the sedimentary rock, the metamorphic rock. We'll be discussing about the rock cycle, we'll be discussing about the minerals part. All these things we'll be discussing under, we call it as, under where? Under the interior of the earth. Under the interior of the earth. Now along with these things, we will be discussing about the different sources of interior of the earth. Now can we reach the interior part of the earth? Can we reach? Can we go below the earth? Now we can go, but maximum we can go is up till maybe some 5 kilometers or 6 kilometers. But after that the temperature as well as density is so intense that humans cannot enter. Humans cannot enter. Yes or no? The humans cannot enter. Now we'll be studying about, under this we'll be studying about, we call it as the sources of what? The sources of interior of the earth also. Under this we'll be studying about our earthquakes. We'll be studying about, we call it as volcanoes. We will be studying about, we call it as the landslides. We will be studying about a concept of weathering. All those aspects related to what? The interior, boss. Yes or no? Hope you're getting the complete idea about geography. The first one we call it as interior. And second one, sir, in the same manner, we